When Ponyboy wakes, he finds himself in an ambulance accompanied by one of the school teachers, Jerry Wood. The teacher tells him that his back caught on fire and that the jacket he was wearing, which Dali lent him, saved his life. He says that Dali was burned, but will probably be fine. Johnny, however, is in very bad shape. He was struck by a piece of burning timber as it fell and may have broken his back. The man jokingly asks Ponyboy if he and Johnny are professional heroes. Ponyboy tells him that they are juvenile delinquents. Ponyboy has suffered mild burns. Jerry stays with him while he's in the hospital, and Ponyboy confides the story of Bob's death. Jerry agrees that Johnny killed Bob in self-defense. He tells Ponyboy he shouldn't smoke, something that no one has ever said to Ponyboy before. Dari and Soda Pop arrive. Soda Pop hugs Ponyboy, and Dari cries, shocking Ponyboy. The anger he has felt towards Dari dissolves. Ponyboy realizes that Dari does care about him. Dari is strict because he loves Ponyboy and wants him to succeed. Ponyboy runs across the room and hugs his brother, thinking that everything will be fine once he gets home. Here in Chapter 7, we are still in rising action. The reporters and police interview Ponyboy, Soda Pop, and Dari in the hospital waiting room. Soda Pop jokes with the reporters and hospital staff, keeping the mood light with his antics. The doctors finally emerge and say that Dali will be fine, but that Johnny's back was broken when the roof caved in. Even if Johnny survives, they add he will be permanently crippled. The next morning, Ponyboy is making breakfast when Steve Randall, Soda Pop's best friend, and 2-Bit come in with the morning papers. The papers portray Ponyboy, Johnny, and Dali as heroes for saving the school children. They also mention Ponyboy's excellent performance on the track team and in school. The papers mention that the state will charge Johnny with manslaughter and send both Ponyboy and Johnny to juvenile court, from which Ponyboy might be sent to a boys' home. The other boys reassure Ponyboy that his family will stay together. Ponyboy tells them that he had his recurring nightmare, which first occurred on the night of his parents' funeral, the previous night. He never remembers the dream, but it makes him wake up in intense panic. Ponyboy asks Soda Pop about Sandy and learns that she got pregnant and moved to Florida. Her parents refused to let her marry Soda Pop because of his age, so Sandy left to live with her grandmother. Soda Pop and Dari go to work, and 2-Bit and Ponyboy go to get Cokes at the Tasty Freeze. A blue Mustang pulls up to the restaurant, and in it they see the group of socials that jumped Ponyboy and Johnny in the park. Ponyboy feels an immediate and intense hatred for them. One of the socials, Marsha's boyfriend Randy, comes over to Ponyboy. 2-Bit reminds him that no fighting is allowed before the rumble, but Randy says he wants only to talk. He asks Ponyboy why he saved those children and says he would never have thought a greaser could do such a thing. Ponyboy says that it didn't have anything to do with his being a greaser. Sick about the violence and Bob's death, Randy says he does not intend to fight at the rumble. Randy explains that Bob was his best friend, a guy with a terrible temper and overly indulgent parents. Ponyboy feels reassured by his talk with Randy and realizes that the socials can be human and vulnerable. And I need you to pay attention here to the words of Randy regarding Bob and regarding the rumble itself. 2-Bit and Ponyboy go to see Johnny and Dali in the hospital. Johnny, weak and pale, whispers that he would like Pony to finish reading Gone with the Wind to him. His mother shows up to visit, but she is in a mean-spirited, nagging woman, and Johnny refuses to see her. As Ponyboy and 2-Bit leave, she accosts them and blames them for Johnny's condition, and 2-Bit insults her. Dali is recovering nicely in the hospital, and for the first time ever, Ponyboy feels warmly towards Dali. Dali says that Tim Shepard, the leader of another gang of greasers, came in to talk about the rumble. Dali asks for 2-Bit's black-handled switchblade, and 2-Bit gladly hands over his prized possession without even asking why Dali needs it. On the way home, Ponyboy and 2-Bit see Cherry Valance in her Corvette. She says that the socials have agreed to fight with no weapons. Ponyboy asks her to go to see Johnny, but she says that she cannot because Johnny killed Bob. And I need you to pay attention here to her stance toward Johnny and her words about Bob. She says that Bob had a sweet side and was only violent when drunk, as he was when he beat up Johnny. Ponyboy calls her a traitor, but he quickly forgives her. He asks her if she can see the sunset on the west side. And when she says she can, he tells her to remember that he can see it on the east side too. And now we come to the climax in chapter 9. Feeling sick before the rumble, Ponyboy swallows 5 aspirin and struggles to eat his dinner. The boys have made themselves look tough and leave for the rumble excitedly. Ponyboy feels a sinking feeling when he sees the other greasers. Tim Shepard's gang and the others seem like genuine hoods. 22 Socs arrive in 4 carloads to fight the 20 greasers. Dari steps forward to start the fight, and Paul Holden, Dari's high school friend and football teammate, steps up to challenge him. As Paul and Dari circle each other, Dari joins the group. As Dari arrives, the fight breaks out in full. After a long struggle, the greasers win. When the rumble ends, Dali and Ponyboy go to the hospital to see Johnny. A policeman stops them, but Ponyboy feigns an injury, and the officer gives them an escort to the hospital. Ponyboy and Dali find Johnny dying. Johnny moans that fighting is useless, telling Ponyboy to stay gold, and then he dies. Dali is beside himself with grief and runs frantically from the room. And now in chapter 10 we come to the following action. After Johnny's death, Ponyboy wanders alone for hours until a man offers him a ride. The man asks Ponyboy if he's okay and tells him that his head is bleeding. Ponyboy feels vaguely disoriented. At home, he finds the greasers gathered in the living room and tells them that Johnny is dead and that Dali has broken down. Dali calls and says he just robbed a grocery store and is running from the police. The gang rushes out and sees police officers chasing him. Dali pulls out the unloaded gun he carries and the police shoot him. Dali collapses to the ground, dead. Ponyboy knows that Dali wanted to die. Feeling dizzy and overwhelmed, Ponyboy passes out. When Ponyboy wakes, Dari is at his side. Ponyboy learns that he got a concussion when the Socs kicked him in the head during the rumble, and that he has been delirious in bed for 3 days.